Welcome, friends, to Breakfast in the Ruins, a Michael Moorcock-flavoured podcast. On this show, I'm joined once again by Phil, who had originally opted out of this second half of our look at the second Eternal Champion novel, so I'd recruited a ringer to pick it up in her stead, Loz. But, seeing as we're going to record it in our kitchen, it would have been churlish of her to sit in the next room and watch some Danish detective show or something, so we're all doing it, with a wandering beer table. Hence some dodgy echoey audio because I don't have a 3-mic setup, and, as ever, when Loz is over, our attention to detail when it comes to things like recording discipline, cutting analytical insight, and that weird esoteric practice they call room treatment, well, they don't feature here. What does feature, though, is stupid beers. And in between those stupid beers, we're having a gas about Moorcock's continuing moral and philosophical critique of power, empire, and escapism in part 2 of Phoenix in Obsidian. As we discussed in part 1, this book follows on from and develops the themes of The Eternal Champion, and is one of the clearest articulations of the younger Moorcock's existential concerns about things like identity, choice, purpose, and his challenge to traditional heroic notions of good versus evil. It also has some very strange halberdery. For this instalment, I've put aside the paperback copy of The Silver Warriors I read from in part 1 in favour of the Mayflower edition with the fabulous Bob Haberfield cover. An image which just so happens to have had a beautiful full-page reproduction, along with numerous other Moorcock Mayflower covers, in Bob Haberfield, The Man in His Art, which is now available via Jayde Design. Ben Haberfield talked about this project when we spoke to him a couple of years ago on this podcast, and, now it has arrived and I have it in my hands, I can only say it's a beautiful and poignant piece of work. An insight into the man as well as a gorgeous coffee table book, well, 2 books in fact, of hundreds of pieces of the late Bob's work. Buy it now from Jayde Design. But, in the meantime, settle back, park the herons, and join us as we journey to a dying world to see what Ulrik's up to next in Phoenix in Obsidian, Part 2. Alright, we're back in Derry and Tom's to finally finish our coverage of Phoenix in Obsidian, which, annoyingly, in episode 1, I continually referred to as the Phoenix in Obsidian.
Did you?
Yeah, which I should be fired for, really.
Didn't realise.
You embarrassed us all with that one.
Yeah, it's not the Phoenix in Obsidian, it's simply Phoenix in Obsidian. Or, of course, if you're in the States, it's the Silver Warriors, which itself is the sequel, of course, to The Eternal Champion. And, first of all, accompanying me for this show, and, people may have twigged already that there's 3 of us on this occasion. But first of all, ladies first, welcome back, Phil.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, in the preamble to part 1, Phil, we mentioned that you were on the 10-week countdown to retirement. And now, I know, that's how long ago it was. And now here we are with part 2. And since then, not only have you retired, you went back to work and then retired again.
I did.
And it was ages ago. 19 months ago, in fact. Maybe even 20 by now, because we were originally supposed to do it a while ago. So it could be knocking on 2 years by the time this podcast goes out since we actually recorded part 1. Now, that's not the longest gap between parts, of course, because we still haven't done Wheels of Terror part 2, and that was 4.5 years ago.
Is that with Robbo?
That's with Robbo. We all know Robbo is a laggard.
And, yeah. Adult.
A gentleman, I thought you were going to say.
No.
Yeah. When we discussed doing part 2, Phil, you weren't that keen, so I had to find a ringer.
Yes.
Loz. Welcome back, Loz.
Hi.
So, Loz is here as a ringer, because that's how we use him now, off the subs bench.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when no one else will do.
A seldom used substitute.
Yeah.
When we either need a stupid quiz.
Yeah. I'm like the shit A-team. If there's no one else you can call, Loz will probably do it for a couple of beers.
Yeah.
And a pickled egg.
Yeah, but sadly we've got no pickled eggs.
Yeah.
We do have some extra fiery pickled onions.
They are extra fiery.
It's a close second.
Yeah,
have you got Gaviscon chasers?
No, but we've got lots and lots of Rennie.
Excellent.
Yeah. And as is traditional, because Loz is here, we're having a wandering beer table. Yeah. So we need to have a look at what's on the... Well, we could have a look at what's on the slate, or we could just roll the dice and see what comes up.
Would you like your lovely assistant to roll the dice?
Yeah, roll
I'll do it then. Oh, sorry, Phil. Yeah, go on then.
All right, roll it, meatbag.
It's number 2.
Of course, it's number two. Wow, what a weird coincidence.
Amazing.
Oh no, it's Oompa Loompas Jumper by Lake's Brew Company.
Of course it is.
Which is a chocolate, peanut butter and salted caramel imperial stout at an easy 8.4%.
Sweet Jesus.
What a way to kick off the evening.
Is it actually called Oompa Loompas?
Jumper?
It is called Oompa Loompas Jumper.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
It's all true, I tell you.
Yeah, it's always a good starter to the evening to go for an 8.4 slightly chocolatey, sickly stout. Right?
Well,
Yeah.
just remember, you chose the lineup, not me.
Wow.
I just rolled the dice.
So while I'm cracking this open and pouring it in our glasses, we should probably do a very brief recap of the first half of this book. Because, of course, we're starting...
Have you already done half of it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I told you that once.
No, you didn't.
We're doing the second half of this book, not all of it.
Brilliant.
Well, you had to read it anyway, didn't you?
I've got so many interesting insights in the first half of the book.
Well, in that case, give us some interesting insights on the first half of the book and just recap it
When
for
I said
us.
interesting insights.
You've opened up for it now.
Yeah, not so many.
Yeah, so, I mean, what goes on in part 1? Well, of course, it starts off, doesn't it, with Ericos going, oh, I'm Ericos, I love Hermizad, etc., etc., etc.
Hey up.
Yeah. And then he gets called into another world and finds that he is, in fact, now Ulrik Skarsol.
He
And
is.
he's got a rocking, very metal sleigh pulled by 4 polar bears with silly names. And he's in a...
It's a bit Father Christmas now.
I was
sort
thinking
of.
that.
Yeah.
It's like Go Growler or what?
One was called Deep Claw, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then there was Alan or something. So, but they were the other 3 had a bit. Yeah, they're a bit like the Father Christmas's reindeers, weren't
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just flip back. And you have a taste of that Oompa Loompas Jumper
Oh,
out from
good.
the name
That looks.
of his...
they? It looked a refreshing beverage.
Yeah. Can I find the names of his polar bears? Maybe not. Who knows? Not very quickly, I can't. But anyway. it's
So
re-
you've discussed Bishop Belfig.
Yes. Bishop Belfig, another of Mike's occasional forays into a villain who's a villain because he's fat and wears makeup.
And he's got, unusual proclivities.
Oh, yeah, because of course Belfig is... He's not the Lord Temporal, that's Shanna's fate.
No, he's
the Lord... something else.
He is the... Yeah, Lord Temporal was him. It was the opposite of what you would expect, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
It was the Lord something or
I
other.
wonder if he... Because when I was reading it, I was just thinking about Bishop Beasley.
Yeah.
And the kind of very similar
Yeah.
adaptation. Let's lob him in.
Well, you know what? We'll talk a little bit about this later on, but this is definitely a juncture, this book.
Definitely, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Mm.
What I didn't realise, because I read, when I was reading a lot of the Mocock stuff, it was out of order.
Yeah.
And, I was never reading it chronologically, because I'm not insane.
Yeah.
Or born of that kind of era. So,
Yeah.
1970, wasn't it? This one.
Yeah.
So this was before Ulrik of Melanie Berry?
Yeah. The year before.
Yeah. But like that book, the writing is a step up from the pulp writing, I think. I had to look up 2 words.
Oh.
Yeah. One was Sybarite, which I'd not heard of.
No.
And what was the other one? That was on there, I think.
Mm.
That was the neurasthenic.
Neurasthenic. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, I saw that one up as well.
Yeah.
So I learnt 2 new words,
Mm.
which is nice. Yeah, it was just, when I was reading it, it was very much a step forward in many ways.
Yeah.
In other ways, not so much, but
Yeah.
it comes out of it.
Yeah, it's a strange like stepping stone, this book, which pulls together a lot of threads. Because of course, when you read them all out of order, you don't really know when all this stuff started to solidify or congeal, for want of a better expression. There's a lot of congealing ideas going on in here.
Well, I think this was like definitely it kind of glued the two. It brought Ericos into the proper Eternal with Ulrik and all the others. It kind of joined them together. Because I still think when you read Eternal Champion, although he is the Eternal Champion, he's not so much, is he?
No, and also, if you read the original Eternal Champion novel, that list of names when he has his dreams in italic,
Yeah, they're all made up.
They're all... There is a quorum, but it's spelt differently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that changes and is revised later on, and we'll get to one of those passages later on. But yeah, so Bishop Belfig is at Roanoke, is a bit of a sleaze. Roanoke is a dying earth city where everybody's just shagging left, right, and centre, and everything's got a little bit debauched.
But it gets quite dark there, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, because Ehrlich engages his urges, doesn't he, in a fairly unpleasant scene.
Yeah, you've touched on that, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
But the other bit was when he was wandering around and people were just torturing each other for giggles, shits and giggles.
Yes.
So yeah, it's quite an unpleasant place, wasn't it? And the other bit was just a bit boring, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, Ehrlich is behaving pretty much the same as Ericos anyway, isn't he? Which basically is a murping get with no agency.
Yes, he's got a beard though.
He's got a beard on this occasion. It's a bit more metal.
But you've got to remember how upset he is to have left the love of his life.
Oh,
God.
You can't fucking forget that, can you?
He's a proper
He don't mention it though, does he?
No.
Just a little bit.
It's quite a lot of weeping, more even than Doctor Who of the last series. A lot of weeping.
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage everybody who's listening to this to go back and listen to part 1 for more reportage. But to cut a long story short, he's in this world where he's aware that the Silver Warriors are a threat because the moon crashed into Earth.
Yep.
And the Silver Warriors are the surviving denizens of the moon who survived the crash, and they've got a beef with mankind. Meanwhile... Apparently so. Meanwhile, Ehrlich is getting shouted at by a weird bell that keeps going, Ehrlich, come to us, and a chalice that screams.
The screaming chalice.
It is the chalice. It screams. It is the screaming chalice.
It is very much the screaming chalice, which is a bit weird.
Yeah.
When he first encounters that, I'm a bit like, ooh, really? A massive screaming cup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have done better. Could have been a bird or something, couldn't
it? As well as listening to part 1 of nearly said it, part 1 of Phoenix and Obsidian, Stroke the Silver Warriors, I would also suggest people listen to our 3 episodes on the Eternal Champion too, which are a time capsule of sorts, because we recorded them during lockdown, didn't we?
Gosh, yeah.
We did. Everything locked down, everything. The world went crazy. We didn't record a podcast for 3 months, because I always did them face to face, and then we thought, oh, fuck it, let's just do the Eternal Champion. And me and you sat on the sofa and got drunk on 3 occasions and talked about the Eternal Champion for about 3 times as long as it takes to actually read the book.
Yeah. I was going to say, 3 episodes for that book.
Yeah.
You must be really getting to the minutiae of the character.
Seems a long time ago.
Or just talking nonsense.
Yeah.
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah, combine the two.
Well, this is definitely a fascinating book from that perspective, because since our last discussion looking at part 1, thinking about Ericos' journey, of course, before Moorcock got round to dragging in the sword and the subsequent von Beckisation,
yes,
which was like another juncture. Every few years when Moorcock's writing, there's a juncture, and this is one of the first where he thinks, right, this is all the stuff I've written in the 60s. I've hinted at certain connections. Let's explicitly draw this together with loads of exposition and a bit of violence.
Yeah, I think because not a lot happens, and then he throws in the sea beast or
the sea stag.
The sea stag, which I'm not quite sure I'm having. But,
I like the sea stag scene. I think it's good. In fact, actually, I've used the sea stag in my last game. There's a sea stag that keeps the port clear at Raven-Sarod when the ocean's all iced up. Anyway, and of course Ericos appeared in the All-Star team-ups with Elric, Corum and Hawkmoon that take place, and blah, 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 blah. We'll get to them in due time, Pro 2037, obviously. There was the graphic novel Flowers of Heaven, The Swords of Hell, which was a collaboration with Howard Chaykin.
That's well weird.
Yeah, but that's 79, that's 9 years after this as well. So it's not all as simple as these novels merging with the Von Beck sequence in The Dragon in the Sword, because that is the next sort of big juncture. Although
I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I think it's great, and we'll get to that one day. So this is 1970. It's just about the end of Mike's first decade of output, and Book 3 actually starts to bring together more explicitly a lot of the threads that have been hinted at in prior few years, with not only the precursor novel to this one, which is The Eternal Champion, but aspects of the history of the rune staff, which introduce these cosmic forces and elements like the rune staff, mystical figures like the warrior and jet and gold, and this idea of like sort of demigods that exist to serve the powers of law and chaos, and in some ways like herd whatever aspect of the eternal champion his companion is the champion of the day. And of course you've got the first Corum sequence, which are those 3 novels, which are collected either, depending on which omnibus you got, it's either The Prince in the Scarlet Robe or it's The Swords of Corum. Powers of Law and Chaos fight for control of various planes of existence. They introduce the knowing amalgam companion character Jari Akonel, who has an awareness of his role as in the Eternal Champion's story. Phil, you probably won't know Jari Akonel too well, but Jari is a companion who has memories of being other companions.
He's the Ericos.
He's the Ericos of companions. Basically.
Yeah.
The Elric tells to that point, of course, let us know about the Black Sword, its relationship with the foremost avatar of the Eternal Champion being Elric. And only 2 or 3 years before this, we had the radical contemporary rewiring of the Elric mythos when he basically recasts the Dreaming City as the final programme. The first part of the final programme. And then the second part is another Elric story. Is it While the Gods Laugh? I can't remember.
Yeah.
So
it's when you get the book, isn't it?
Yeah. That's right, yeah. Yeah. I can't remember. Anyway, so this is like a major breaking point where a more scattergun approach to the cosmology and myth cycle has been seeding starts to coalesce or congeal. Congealing into a more intent and focused thing that will run through the 70s, and then he'll expand the Elric novels with Elric of Melniboné, put them all in order, with the Panther, Grafton, Daw editions in the 70s, and get additional sequences for Corum, Hawkmoon, and Jerry Cornelius that reach capstones of one sort or another in the late 70s, with a quest for Tanalorn for the fantasy characters, which is like a myth-driven, fantastical conclusion that I'm not entirely sure about.
It's got one good bit in it.
Yeah. And then you get the meta and self-aware conclusion in Jerry Cornelius's The Condition of Muzak.
Yes.
So this
which is
really
one of my favourite books.
Is the starting point of all that. This book, this second half of Phoenix and Obsidian, is where all of this kicks off and his grand plan starts to come into play.
How many years later is it after Eternal Champion?
So Eternal Champion was a short story. I think that he was first published in 61 or 62.
Right.
The novelisation, the expanded novelisation, I think was 66 or 67. Probably wrong. I'm sure someone will correct me. Don't have them all in front of me. But they were all... The short story was early 60s.
But it's post-Elric then?
Yeah. I mean, he'd already put out his Elric novels, which were just fix-ups of short stories that appeared in the early 60s.
Yeah.
So it's all getting sort of mashed up and kicked around at the same time throughout the 60s. And then the Elric stories that appeared in the magazines were all issued as fix-up novels. And of course, Stormbringer comes out, I think, in 67. Even though the stories were 2 or 3 years earlier than that when they were first published. Yeah, so it's quite a mishmash, a chaotic mishmash of publication for all these things. But this is the first time he actually starts to pull these threads together. And then in the 70s, he launches into like a grand reorganisation of the mythos with omnibus editions of the Hawkmoon books, omnibus editions of the Corum books, a new Corum trilogy, and the Elric stories being put into chronological order, narrative chronological order, with new stories like Elric of Melniboné being published. All of it culminating in the quest for Tanalorn in, I think, 1977, maybe.
Yeah, which is a very patchy piece, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a massive undertaking.
Oh yeah, totally. It?
Yeah, and it really, to some extent, it all starts here. Well, it doesn't start here, but the effort to tie all of the threads together under one sort of overarching roof starts to kick in with this book. And you even get some of the Grail mythology, some of the Grail imagery starts to come in here. And this is 11 years before he does Warhound and the World's Pain.
Yeah.
He's starting to use the Grail imagery, very much so by the end. So anyway, this lovely Mayflower edition I'm reading from is the fabulous Bob Haberfield cover. So we're going to get some confusion when it comes to page numbers.
Yeah.
Because you're both reading from the Golanx collections, Eternal Champion collections. But fortunately, these chapters are all relatively short, so we shouldn't get lost too much. And this book was originally owned by a Steve Kavanagh, whose name is in the back in biro. Well done, Steve, for keeping this in such tidy condition. Because this is a 1974, so this is 51 years old, this paperback.
Wow.
And it's still bang tidy. Well done, Steve. So going back to just briefly recapping the first half of this book, Bishop Belfig gets him to go on an expedition to slay a sea stag, and then shitloads of sailors get torn up on the sea stag's antlers, but Ehrlich manages to kill it with his axe.
It does.
But he gets betrayed and left behind in the sea stag's cave by Belfig and his men, who are all rotters.
Yeah. And at the end, he's at the end of the cave going, no.
Yeah. So something else we should point out, I suppose, is that he's got an axe. He's got a nice big axe. He doesn't have the black sword.
No.
He's lost that. It's been left behind.
Well, all the way through, no, he refuses to pick it up. Well, he hasn't got it, but every time they say you need to pick up the black sword with all of it,
no.
he's going, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. He's
Foreshadowing the fact that, yeah, he probably should have left it.
Yeah. So let's kick off with this half of the book then. So, Chapter 1, The Laughing Dwarf.
Yes,
So,
James the Crooked.
James the Crooked. Erlich's sulking in the sea stag's cave. He can't eat any of it because weird, snaky, wormy carrion keep coming in and eating it first. And just as he's getting into his arguing with fresh air habit, which he does a fucking lot of.
He does monologue a bit, doesn't he?
Oh, he does, and he moans at nobody.
That's why Ericus is the worst character, because he's always bailing or going, oh, woe is me, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then destroys like the human race and goes, oh, yeah, we shouldn't have done that.
You know what? I'm going to say it now. Ehrlich acts like a pathetic loser for a lot of this book.
He doesn't do anything, does he?
If there's a fight to be had, it's fine. And in my head, I couldn't help reading some of his lines as the Terry Jones character in Monty Python, whose dad, Michael Palin, is trying to leave the castle to him. You know, someday, lad, all this will be yours.
What, the curtains?
What, the curtains?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, the multiverse. You are the champion eternal. I don't want to be the champion eternal.
But
I want to sing.
Yeah. He doesn't even want to sing, does he?
No.
He just wants to grow his beard and sulk around.
He just wants to have a massive fucking sulk. But whilst he's sulking in this cave, James the Crooked turns up.
Of course he does.
And James is there for one reason only,
Exposition.
multiversal exposition.
Yes.
That's right. So at this point, James has already popped up towards the end of Stormbringer. So he's been a character in Stormbringer already a few years before this, in the final story of the Stormbringer stories. I think it's the final one anyway.
Wasn't he in the Corran one as well?
I can't remember.
I think he was in the, not the King of the Swords, was it?
He's not in any of the Swords trilogy.
Is he not?
No, because I've just recently, well, I say recently, over the last 3 years, read him and covered him. I don't think he's in them. But he is in Stormbringer, and he pops up in The Dragon and the Sword.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just hangs around with the original, with Ericos.
Yeah.
Doesn't go anywhere
possibly.
else.
But he serves a purpose, because these books are too short for show, don't tell. There's a lot of tell
Yeah.
and very little show.
Well, he's only there like 5 minutes.
Yeah. He's there 5 minutes, and then he buggers off.
Poof.
He dumps a whole lot of exposition, because all Ericos stroke Ehrlich really does is the listless woe is me thing, because that's his thing, isn't it? He does that until a hot babe turns up and gives him something to murder for, but he needs a pep talk.
In this case, he doesn't. He
No,
just
well,
needs. He's quite easily swayed in this one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not. I'll help you, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch any black sword.
No, that's right.
You see me not touching any black sword
Until he does.
Yeah. Like, well, oh, hang on.
We'll get to that and how quickly he changes his mind there.
We need to just quickly reference the beer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've drunk mine already.
It's quite nice.
It's actually really nice. Yeah, so Oompa Loompas Jumper. Congratulations, Late Brew Company. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I could have drunk one of them all to myself. But,
Considering it's an 8 point something as well.
yeah.
Probably wise not to.
Yeah, possibly. We've got 7 more to get through during this podcast. So, yeah. Let's just go steady, eh? James gives him a big pep talk. Not that it really is any good, but he gets a quick lesson on the law versus chaos angle, Tanalorn, the presence of demigods like James that do the gods' work, and the relationship to the Black Sword.
Tanelon's mentioned before that, isn't he? Because he asks him about Tanelon, doesn't he?
Yeah. So he's getting the lowdown that Tanelon is an eternal place that exists across different versions of the world. So he's now thinking, ooh, Tanelon sounds kind of groovy. And maybe this is the point at which he starts to think he wants to open a cereal cafe in Tanelon, which I'm pretty sure is one of the eternal
He's always
things.
wanted to do that, hasn't he? Doesn't he, in this, the cosmology side of it, doesn't he say like Tanelon's in the middle of all of the multiverse, pretty much?
Yeah.
So it all spins around that. He mentions the Grey Lords as well.
Mudcock does say some profound things. Like one of the lines was, "I brought tranquility at the cost of genocide." So you've got such opposite ends in some of what he says.
Yeah.
There's some later on as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Yeah, call them out when they come up. So I tell you what, why don't we read a bit of this Jermaze the Crooked Business Laws? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be Jermaze or Ehrlich?
I'm gonna bring gravitas to both roles, I would have thought.
Well, you be Jermaze then. Leave me in peace, I begged. Let me die in peace. The slithering and hissing from the cavern of death mingled with the whispers and the echoes of the ghostly voices. Leave me alone! I was like a child, frightened by the things it imagines in the dark. My voice was the impotent pleading of a child. Please, leave me alone! I heard laughter. It was low, sardonic laughter, and it seemed to come from above. I looked up. Once again, a dream seemed to have assumed physical reality, for I saw the figure quite clearly. It was climbing down the rock towards me. It was a dwarf with bandy legs and a light beard. His face was young, and his eyes bright with humour.
Greetings.
Greetings, I replied. Now vanish, I beg you.
But I've come to pass the time with you.
You are a creature of my imagination.
I resent that. Besides, you must have an unpleasant imagination if you can create so poor a thing as myself. I am Jermaze the Crooked. Do you not remember me?
Why should I remember you?
Oh, we have met once or twice before. Like you, I have no existence in time, as most people understand it. As you once understood it, if my memory serves. I've been of assistance to you in the past.
Mock me not, phantom.
Sir Champion, I am not a phantom. At least not much of one. True, I live for the most part in the shadow worlds, the worlds which have little true substance. A trick played on me by the gods that made me the crooked thing I am.
Gods?
Those who claim to be gods. They're as much slaves as fate as we are. Gods, powers, superior entities. They call many things, and we, I suppose, are demigods, the tools of the gods.
I have no time for mystical speculation of that kind.
You've got nothing else to do. You're in the cave. Oh, sorry, I was improvising. Yeah. My dear champion, at this moment you have time for anything. Are you hungry?
You know that I am.
The dwarf reached into his green jerkin and pulled out half a loaf of bread.
He handed it to me. It seemed substantial enough. I bit it. It seemed quite real. I ate it and I felt my stomach filled. Thank you. If I am to go mad, then this seems the best way. Jermaze sat beside me on the ledge, resting the spear he carried against the rock. He smiled.
You are certain my face is not familiar?
I have never seen you before.
Strange. Then perhaps no temporal identities are in different... Our temporal identities are in different phases. You've not yet met me, though I have met you.
Quite possible. Jermaze had a wineskin hanging on his belt. He unhooked it, took a swig, and handed it to me. The wine was good. I drank sparely and gave him back the skin.
I see you don't have your sword with you.
I gave him a searching look, but there seemed to be no irony in his voice.
I
have lost it, I said.
Lost it? Lost that black blade? Oh, ho, ho, ho. You're making fun of me now, Sir Champion.
I frowned impatiently. It is true. What do you know of the Black Sword?
What we all know is a sword that has possessed many names, of you have possessed many names. It has appeared in different guises, just as your physical appearance is not always the same. They say it was forged by the forces of darkness for one destined to be their champion. But that is rather an unsophisticated view, wouldn't you agree?
I would.
The Black Sword is said to exist on many planes, and it is also said to have a twin. Once, when I knew you, when you were called Ulrik, and the blade was called Stormbringer, its twin Mournblade. However, some say that the duality is an illusion and there is only one Black Sword. and that existed before the gods, before creation.
These are legends. They don't explain the nature of the thing at all. I've been told it is my destiny to bear it. Yet I refuse. Does that mean aught to you?
It means that you must be an unhappy man. The champion and the sword are one. If man betrays blade, or blade betrays man, then a great crime is committed.
Why is this so?
I know not, the gods know not is always been. Believe me, Sir Champion, it is the same as asking what created the universes through which you and I move so freely.
Is there any means of staying on one plane? On one world?
I have never considered the problem. It suits me to travel as I do. But then, I am not a hero.
Have you heard of a place called Tanalorn?
Aye, you might call it Veterans Town. It's said to be the domain of the Grey Lords, those who serve neither law nor chaos.
What do you mean by law and chaos?
Ugh. Some call them light and darkness. Again, there are disputes amongst philosophers and the like as to what defines them. Others believe that they are one, part of the same force. On different worlds, in different times, they believe different things, and what they believe, I suppose, is true.
But where is Tanalorn?
Where? A strange question for you to ask. Tanalorn is always there.
Are you part of my torment, Master James? You further complicate the riddles.
Untrue, Sir Champion. But you ask impossible questions of me. Perhaps a wiser being can tell you more, but I cannot. I am not a philosopher or a hero. I am just James the Crooked.
I am sorry, but I feel there is no solution to my dilemma. How did you get to this place?
A gap in the fabric of another world. I do not know how I go from plane to plane, but I do. There it is.
Can you leave?
I will when it's time to leave, but I do not know when that will be.
I see. I peered out at the gloomy sea, and James wrinkled his nose.
I've seen few places as unpleasant as this, though. I can see why you'd want to leave. Perhaps this is if you took the black sword again?
No!
Forgive me, I did not comprehend that you were so adamant about the matter.
Something spoke from within me, something that refuses at all costs to accept the black sword.
Then you...
James was gone. Again I was alone. Again I wondered if it had been an illusion. If my whole experience here was an illusion. If this entire thing were not some event taking place in the sleeping or insane brain of John Dacre. Oh, my word. Yep, that was James. That was James. He did his job as an exposition machine, and he sodded off again.
I don't think he is that useful to the eternal champion, to be honest. He turns up, talks a lot of bollocks, and then disappears again.
He gave him some bread. He was hungry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bread and wine.
Sorry, he's like, Deliveroo then. Turns up through the planes, gives us some bread and wine, and then fucks off.
Yeah.
I bet that Ulrik wishes he'd taken more wine.
Yeah,
He made the point of saying, I took a little bit.
Yeah, what a knobhead. He
Yeah.
should have well gobbed that down.
Yeah.
And dry bread.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a sandwich.
Yeah.
Another
Again.
reason for more wine.
Again, James the Crooked, a bit rubbish. Could have brought like beef jerky or something, couldn't he?
Yeah, Ritz. Some box of Ritz crackers.
Ritz crackers.
Yeah, they're also very dry.
And a tube Primula because they're dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, make your own cheese sandwiches.
But you could
Right,
get
Phil.
those Ritz ones with the cheese in the middle.
Oh, also epic. But less interactive than making your own with the cheese Primula.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to roll again?
Yeah, roll again, please.
12. Oh no.
What we got?
We've got 3.
We've got 3. Apple Pie Fruity Ale
Excellent.
by Fierce Beer. Now, Loz, you say you've had this one before, but I haven't. So this is Fierce Beer, limited edition Apple Pie Fruity Ale, and it's 4.3%. Bit of a palate cleanser.
I've seen it in my fridge,
Yeah.
but sometimes my son turns up and goes, Dad, have you got any beer? And sometimes it's the detritus, such as,
Yeah.
coconut flavoured, whatever.
Controversial suggestion. Should we go from an 8.4% chocolate, peanut butter, salt, caramel stout straight to a fruity sour? It's not a sour, an apple pie fruity pearl. Or should we eschew the table and think that a dark ale, limited edition Red Willow Brewery, Treacle Treat, at 5.3% might be a more gradual...
a gradual
Shift.
descent into madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, fuck the dice.
So,
Yeah, why the wrong with that?
Well, that's what
you
the
know
crooked
what?
would say.
We
wouldn't he?
refuse to be tools of fate.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Be gone,
Dice.
born of chaos.
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
Fail the black hail.
And as for your problem, get a locked fridge for yourself. For Dad's beer.
Yeah.
I'm not that tight. No, it's not that. I find it amusing because sometimes he goes, what's left?
Yeah.
And it's something really horrendous, but he'll drink it anyway.
Mm.
It's like, oh yeah, but I had a Raspberry Ripple screwball beer.
Yeah.
I had 2, but he drank them both.
Good lad.
Because I was going to bring them.
He obviously liked that one.
Yeah, he said it was really nice.
Yeah.
Right. Let us have a quick test of this, and then we'll get back to it.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, faces aren't good.
In some ways, it's a surprise because I expected it to be treacly.
Is it not?
But it's very much...
It's a bit nondescript, isn't it?
It's nondescript, and it vaguely tastes of the ashes of a doomed world.
Let me have another taste. I didn't get that with the first sip.
Yeah.
You didn't get the Doom World.
Yeah.
Wash
you
it
get
through your
ash?
teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, Doom World with a slightly unusual microclimate.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
yeah.
unfortunately for Elric, who just wants to be left alone...
Erlich.
Erlich. Who just wants to be left alone and certainly doesn't want the black sword.
He really doesn't want the black
Well,
sword.
unfortunately for him, the bell starts up again. A ship pulled by herons arrived, and it's the ship of the amusingly titled Bladrak Morning Spear.
You can't just gloss over the fact that it's a boat pulled by herons.
I think some of the strongest imagery in this book is the boats pulled by herons.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Especially when there's a big fleet of them.
Yeah.
And at one point, they all get tangled up.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to untangle them.
That's because they're going, yeah, the heron idea.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that practical.
There is lots of great imagery in this book. Obviously, polar bears pulling Erlic's sleigh is cool. Herons pulling strange ships that, are more like catamarans, aren't they? Because they don't plough through the water. The seal riders of the forces of Roanoke are pretty cool. They all ride big sort of sea lions or seals or whatever it is. That's quite cool. So there's lots of good imagery. But this is the ship of Bladrak Morning Spear, who we find has been expecting Erlich at the Scarlet Fjord for yonks.
Yeah, Bladrak's mentioned by the bishop, isn't he, early on as a pirate.
A pirate. Yeah, says, they're knobheads, them, they're pirates. But it turns out they've been trying to summon Elric for 60 days with Erlic's bell. Or is it the bell of Erlich? I can't actually remember.
I think it's probably a combo, whoever you ask.
Yeah.
Oh, Erlic's bell, yeah. You'll be ringing that for 60 days.
Yeah.
Not the bell of Erlich.
But unfortunately, Erlich got waylaid at Roanoke, and there's this bit that sums up Erlich in this book, because Bladrak asks if Belfig abducted him, and Erlich says, I suppose he did, in a way. They're like, no, he didn't.
He well didn't.
You pathetic loser.
He just asked you in.
Yeah.
Offered you some slaves, and as much gold as you could eat.
You rolled over, engaged in rough rumpy pumpy at the first opportunity.
Well, no, it wasn't the first. He did refuse a couple, didn't he?
Yeah, for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if that,
then
13 minutes.
Then had a terrible dream, and then, oh, hang on.
Yeah. He's going, oh no, this doesn't feel entirely appropriate. Oh, nightmare. Give me some women to shag. Roughly. Yeah.
And it was young.
Ravaging.
Yeah, I think we did comment on that. It was a little bit...
Yeah, I mean...
A little bit...
joking aside, it was a bit rapey, I thought.
Yes. All joking aside, he engaged in rough rumpy pumpy that didn't seem entirely consensual. So the fact that he's now saying, well, I suppose Belfig did... Yeah, he did kidnap me in a way. Like, fuck off, Erlich.
Where did that
in what way?
Yeah.
In the way that he would let me go if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And let you eat what you wanted. He let you go and see the other leader.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't really, fucking confine him to a cell or anything, did they?
No.
No.
And then when they asked him to do some deeds, he was like, all right, I suppose. I'll come and kill the sea stag with you. What else am I going to do?
But once we're talking about the different creatures, I've got the names of the bears.
Oh, the bears. The bears.
Yeah. So he goes at one point, Ho Render, Ho Growler, Ho Longclaw, Ho Longclaw, Ho Snarler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably was a bit bored at that point, or he couldn't be bothered to think of the names.
Well, maybe in London in 1969 or 70 when he was writing this, maybe Growler didn't carry quite the same connotation as it carried in Hull when we were kids.
Yeah, probably not.
Which is also different, may I say, to growing up in Grimsby.
Yeah, Phil had no. When I first came over here, and I think we went to a game of rugby league at Wakefield. And there was a sign that said Growler and Peace.
Which is pork pie, by the way.
Oh, right.
So there were two major problems there for me. One, it was hot pork pie with peas.
Which you didn't realise.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which I didn't realise. And the second was the pork pies were called Growlers. So yeah, Growler and Peas. Trust me, I have had worse pea combinations since then, because in Skegness I had cockles and mushy peas.
Ooh.
And it was the worst thing I've ever eaten in my life. Yeah.
That must come at some pretty strong competition.
Yeah, they reckon it's some kind of local delicacy, but this is in a town where they have a shop that sells buckets and spades, dildos, and crossbows.
Excellent.
All under one roof.
But we all know where to head when the zombie apocalypse happens.
That's right.
For our t-shirts.
Yeah.
So you got Render, Growler, Longclaw, and Snarler.
Yeah.
Which makes up in a way for Ulrik being such a pathetic loser that he's got 4 powerful polar bears. Because is there a more listless, pathetic, and agencyless character in all of fantasy fiction as Ulrik in this book?
I'm trying to think. Who was the one who just kept changing his mind all the time?
Jeff.
The
ambivalent.
Jeff the ambivalent.
I think it was from a Fritz Leiber book.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Ambivalent Jeff.
Ambivalent Jeff. Which one's he? The one with the lad shrugging his shoulders.
Anyway, fortunately for Ulrik, there's a woman also called the Lady of the Chalice waiting to see him.
Yeah.
And he learns that the Silver Warriors are massing for an attack on all the remaining human cities. So time is short. And, despite the fact he's been saying, "No, I won't wield the black sword," turns out Bladrak's got the black sword aboard in a box, waiting for him.
Well, this is it. It's on the ship, sat there going, "Come to me."
They're going, "Hello, black sword here."
Hi.
He's going, "No,
I don't like it.
Leave that thing away from me.
I don't like it.
I don't want the black sword, Father. I just want to sing." Anyway, on to the Scarlet Fjord.
Yeah, very red.
Yeah. At Bladrak's words, a great sense of dread filled me. I stared at him in horror, hardly able to comprehend what had happened. I had been manipulated into this situation, and Bladrak had been an unknowing agent of this trick. Bladrak was taken aback. "What is it, my lord? Have we done wrong? Have we done something that will bring doom upon you?" My voice was hoarse, and I hardly knew the words I spoke, for, consciously, I still had no idea of the Black Sword's nature. "Doom on us all, Bladrak Morningspear, in some form or other. Aye, and perhaps the accomplishment of what you desire. Do you know the price?" "Price?" My face twisted. I flung my hands to cover it. "What price is that, Count Ulrik?" I cleared my throat, but still did not look at him. "I do not know, Bladrak. That in time we shall both discover. As for now, I wish that sword kept away from me. I do not want the box opened." "We will do all as you desire, Count Ulrik. But you will lead us, will you not, against the Silver Warriors?" I nodded. "If that was why I was called, that is what I will do. Without the sword? Without the sword." Oh,
Bladrak's going, I was expecting a different guy.
Well, yeah, Bladrak's going, this is mildly disappointing.
Yeah. Never meet your heroes.
Yeah.
You do make him sound very emo, I have to say.
Well, that's how he reads.
Very limp.
Yeah. But the Scarlet Fjord's pretty cool compared to Roanoke, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
really boring,
Yeah.
depending on your taste.
Yeah.
The people are substantially differently wired to the Roanoke lot. Talked a lot about the botchery of that lot last time out, but what happens when the world is fucked and the lights, like the sun, are going out slowly? What does that do to the psyche of people, perhaps?
Yeah, but they seem to be getting on with it.
Yeah, shagging. Rough shagging.
Well, Roanoke's the thing, isn't it? It's like, when you always had that, what would you do if you knew the world was going to end,
Hard bog roll. We found that out, didn't we?
Yeah. That's not in here.
No.
But, it's that thing, though, isn't it? What, you've got like a year to live. What do you do? Some people go down the debauchery route.
Yeah.
Some people set up a farm in a scarlet field.
Yeah. I mean, it's a common post-apocalyptic dying earth trope, isn't it, that everybody becomes a dick.
Yeah. Or just tries and creates civilization.
Yeah. It's always nice to have that balance, isn't it? We've got that balance there. Did you see, what was that TV series we watched, which was about the world ending because of a disease, and it starts off and there's a bunch of them, they're just a travelling theatre troupe.
Oh.
But is it Station 9? Station 9?
Can't remember.
It was a really good TV show anyway, and for the most part, it wasn't super cynical and doom-laden.
Right.
It actually involved, although there were significant problems and ne'er-do-wells and people who made the wrong decisions, on the whole it took a much more balanced, maybe even optimistic view of what people would do in a post-apocalyptic scenario.
Just try and make the best of it.
It was a really good series, that, wasn't it? I don't think it's ever got a series.
That doesn't make a very interesting thriller, though, does it?
But it was a good series, though, because a lot of the character dynamics and the interplay were interesting.
Yeah.
And the flashbacks to when society was breaking down. This little lass, I think she's going to the theatre to meet her mum and dad or something, and a friend's parent. She ends up living as the world breaks down in this tower block with a guy and his brother as the world falls to pieces around him. And all those scenes were really good. I think the best scenes in those things are always while society is breaking down.
Yeah.
They're the ones I enjoy most. But that series was a good series. I enjoyed it. I think it was called Station 9 or Station 11 or something like that. So it's always nice to have. Obviously these people might be hard in bog roll as well. These people might have been some of the worst run to Asden, fucking buy all the bog roll before anybody goes.
They seem to be quite nice fellas, though, don't they?
They do.
Yes.
They want to save the slaves. They want to have a nice, quiet life.
Yeah, and they're all delighted to see Alec as well. And they're going, Alec, and he's a bit embarrassed because they think he's the bish bosh. Yeah. And he's going to save him from the Silver Warriors.
We know different.
We do. Well, yeah. I mean, he's not keen, to be fair. Although he does say we'll do it without the sword, but we do get a tiny description of the Silver Warriors. Bladrak looks at his beaker. Well, the brains of the folk of Roanoke are, Bladrak gestured at his head with his finger, addled, askew. I know not something. But Belfig must have known of the bell, for when it sounded a second time he turned the ship about and your name was mentioned. That means they knew you were summoning me, and they did not tell me. Why did the bell sound over the sea? And why did not know hear a bell the first time, only a voice? Fucking all questions.
Yes.
Bladrak looked at his beaker. They say the bell speaks with a human voice across the planes of the universe, but only sounds like a bell on this plane. I don't know if that's true, for I've only heard it ring in the ordinary way. Where is the bell? Fucking hell, he's like a 6-year-old child. Anyway, blah, 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 the bell, blah, blah. Who is the lady of the chalice? Does she appear with a gigantic golden cup which screams? Nay. That is just a name. She came to us when the danger of the Silver Warriors grew great. She said there was a hero who would help us. She said he was Ulrik Skarsol, Count of the White Wastes, Lord of the Frozen Keep, Prince of the Southern Ice, Master of the Cold Sword. So they call it the Cold Sword, not the Black Sword. So the Lady of the Chalice said if we called the hero urgently enough, it would sound Ulrik's bell, which would summon him. He would come to our aid, he would take up the Cold Sword, and the blood of the Silver Warriors would fill the chalice and feed the sun. I sighed. I suppose the Cold Sword was the local name for the Black Sword. Germaise had said the sword had many names on many worlds, but something within me was still resolute. We shall have to manage against the Silver Warriors without the sword. Now tell me who these warriors are. They came from nowhere a year or so since. It is believed they are Moonites, whose own home grew too cold to support them. They have a cruel queen, it is said, but none has ever seen her. They are virtually invulnerable to ordinary weapons, and therefore well-nigh invincible in battle. They easily took the cities of the northern coast one after the other. Most of the people there, like those of Roanoke, are too self-absorbed to know what happens to them, but the Silver Warriors have enslaved them and put them to death and made them brainless, inhuman creatures. We are the free sailors. We lived off the soft citizens, but now we rescue those we can and bring them here. For some while that is what we've been doing, But now all the signs show that the Silver Warriors are planning to attack the southern coasts. In a direct fight, we could not possibly defeat them, and soon the whole race will be enslaved. They are of flesh and blood. They are tall and thin and arrogant and speak rarely and wear that strange silver armour. Their faces too are silver, as are their hands. We have seen no other parts of their bodies. Their armour burns us when we touch it. Blah 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 blah. So I've left out lots of Ehrlich asking questions there because I think 75% of Ehrlich's dialogue in this book is him just asking short questions and then getting tons of exposition back. So what we know is their armour burns when they touch, they're hard to kill, and they're enslaving everybody. Yeah. But Ehrlich's like, yeah, cool, whatever, let's do it. But without the sword.
Even though he won't have the sword, also when he first got on the ship, they found out that he'd killed the sea stag.
That's right.
So they think he's really invincible.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't kill it on his own.
The belly ripper.
They think he's way cool. That's what they think.
But he doesn't tell them, does he? I got some help from some of Belfig's men.
He does say that at one point. He just says, oh, well, I didn't kill it on my own.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does, yeah.
No, he thinks it.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Well, he just say, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that, what was it? Treacle Treat, Dark Ale wasn't that much of a treat for me, frankly.
No.
So let's go with the original roll that Phil made. Fierce Beer, limited edition, apple pie fruity pale. High hopes for this one.
Yep.
Let's have a look.
Rinse out the glass.
Rinse schmince.
I would have said rinse them, to be honest.
Right, anyway, where were we? The raid on Nalanark.
Indeed.
So there's a raid on Nalanark.
Nalanark.
It is the raid on Nalanark. So Ehrlich hits his stride now. There's some warring to be done. He plans an audacious raid to free a load of slaves from Silver Warrior servitude. As his first encounter with them, finds that their armour is electrified and spots Belfig and learns that he's in league with the Silver Warriors. What the F is that all about?
They're a bit uncoordinated and rubbish, aren't they?
They're fucking useless, aren't they? Apart from their armour, which Ehrlich finds is electrified and gives him an electric shock when he tries to clobber one of them. They're actually a bit shit. And this common thing that they use halberds, but they throw them at him.
Yeah, which I was trying to get my head around as well.
Me too. I can't. And even later on, some Roanoke dudes have halberds and they throw them at him as well. So I don't know. I just have this sense like, did Mike know what a halberd is?
Maybe.
I don't know. Either that or, I don't know, maybe it's just a feature of the future that you lob halberds at people.
Yeah, maybe they had like competitions.
I don't know. But anyway, some nice imagery here. Sorry, Phil, you were about to say something.
I was just going to say, when I was reading it, I had a thought that were the Silver Warriors evil or misunderstood, like the Eldrin?
Yeah, well, at one point, Ehrlich actually thinks to himself, yeah, you know what? I've been told this before, that the aliens are super evil. And you know what? Last time it turned out not to be the case. And one of them was really hot, and I killed all of mankind on their behalf.
What's the chance of that happening again?
Yeah. But some really nice imagery. Grand fleet of ships pulled by herons. That's really cool.
They're back.
There's a feint that draws out the enemy ships. It's brisk. And for a change, lacking in visceral, short, sharp violence that you generally tend to get in this stuff with Moorcock.
And there's that bit, the sword's not happening.
That's right, yeah. There's a bit where, that'll come, won't it?
Yeah.
A bit where I said acknowledges to himself. So he approaches this raid with an open mind because he's like, I've been told that there could be super evil. But he knows the Silver Warriors are hard to kill and that they're treating the human slaves pretty badly. But he's still super resistant to taking the sword up, much to Bladrat's despair. And he's still like, no, I won't take the sword. Until Chapter 4, The Lady of the Chalice
suggests he should maybe take the sword.
For all of Alex's insistence that he won't use the sword, he rolls over pretty quickly.
Yeah, because should I? Ooh.
Yeah. So he meets with the Lady of the Chalice in a psychedelic cave with a black staff.
Yeah, I wonder what that could be.
What could that staff be?
Has the staff got runes on it, maybe?
Yeah. Well, it never actually says that it is the rune staff, but it's the rune staff.
Oh, is it?
I reckon so.
It's the rune staff.
It's the rune staff. So he has this big conversation with the lady in the chalice, and he goes, I won't use the sword. And she says, yes, you will. And, a page later, he says to Bladrak, bring me the sword. Like within a page.
Yeah.
And it's because he decides that he's going to try and rescue the Lord Temporal, Shanosfane, from Roanoke. If we're thinking about all of his opposition to using the sword, and knowing, or certainly having some inkling of what using the sword means, is rescuing Shanosfane from Roanoke. Shanosfane, the guy who's just like, yeah, whatever. There is no difference between life and death. I don't really care about anything.
He's rubbish, isn't he?
Yeah.
It seems like poor justification for me for him to just completely change his mind.
Throughout the whole thing, though, the reason he didn't want to use the black sword, he didn't know why.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, I shouldn't use the sword. Why? I don't know. I just don't want to.
It's funny after reading all that stuff about saying, oh, I'll go on my own with the black sword. I put very like a Kevin. Yeah. And I think he is very,
Yeah.
I'm welcome to get the black sword.
Yeah. Sorry, Kevin's out there. I just meant from the...
Yeah, that thing.
That thing from the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, what was it? Perry and Kevin Go Large.
I think this bit's...
Not just literally that he's a Kevin.
No.
Yeah. So this bit sums it up for me, right? So, risk a fleet for one man of Roanoke. Bladrak laughed. Don't laugh there. No, Sir Champion. Then I must go alone, I said. You will achieve nothing save to lose as a hero. Your hero, Sir Bladrak, I pointed out. There's some precious little for you so far. Sums it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from crapping on about not taking the sword.
Yeah.
But crapping on about not taking the sword for about 3 years, and then 30 seconds later going, no, give us the sword. Yeah. But they know the Silver Warriors fleet appears to be sailing south to Roanoke, so they have to consider the possibility of a feint and can't leave the Scarlet Fjord unprotected. Erlich needs to go on his own. It's like, but I won't be on my own. I'll have an ally. And Bladrak's going, but I can't come with you. And he says, not you, the sword. Bladrak's like, the sword. So you are going to take the sword then? Yeah, I'm going to take the sword.
Well, taking the sword.
Fucking hell, you fickle motherfucker.
Chapter 5, The Waking of the Sword. Do you reckon there was a page count that he needed to hit?
Oh,
it's got the worst chant ever, hasn't it?
It's that chant.
It's dreadful, isn't it?
There is no way I'm reading that chant because life is too short.
Yeah. But I did read it for a bit.
Yeah.
And then most of it's black sword, black sword, black sword. The black sword is in the champion's world. Swords. No, that is it. The black sword is the champion's sword. The word of the sword is the champion's law.
Yeah.
It doesn't rhyme. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm not
to be honest, the poetry bits have never been Mike's strong points.
No, but that's quite dreadful, isn't it?
Well, I read it all because I did all my homework.
Yeah.
But it made no sense.
As soon as I saw huge amounts of white space and black sword in capitals 14 times in a row, I was like, yeah, I'll skip this bit.
So chapter 5, most of the first 2 pages are the black sword chant.
Yeah. And
then we get onto the 3rd page and we get more of it.
Yeah. So I suppose if you just get rid of all the bullshit.
Yeah.
And cut to the chase. There are 4 key bits. The voices that are chanting at him say, first is, the death of the sword is the death of all life. If the black sword is wakened, it must take its black fief.
Yeah.
We'll find out what that means.
That's life and fief.
Yeah.
That doesn't rhyme.
Arouse the black sword and the pattern is made. The deed will be done and the price will be paid.
That does rhyme.
Yeah.
And
the pact is made.
Have you got the different bit for this? The lid of the case sprang open. A wild, triumphant howling filled the air. An almost human voice, which awakened 1,000 memories within me.
So I wonder if the italics bit is the same.
That's what I was going to say.
In yours, because we know that from the Eternal Champion volumes. So you've both got the Golanx collection. So why don't I read? Yeah, why don't I read the Mayflower early 70s one, which will be exactly the same as how it was written in 1970. And see if he crowbars a Von Beck in there, in your version.
There's no Von Becks.
Oh, that's nice. So, here we get the italics. It says, a wild, triumphant howling filled the air, an almost human voice which awakened 1,000 memories within me. I was Elric of Melniboné, and I defied the laws of chaos with my rune sword Stormbringer in my hands, and a wild joy in my heart.
Check.
Ding. I was Dorian Hawkmoon and I fought against the Best Lords. Typo in the F1 edition.
Beast.
The Best Lords of the Dark Empire, and my sword was called the Sword of the Dawn.
Semi-beep, yeah.
I was Roland, dying at Roncesvalles, with the magic blade Durandana slaying 100 Saracens.
Yep.
I was Jeremiah Cornelius, and this was no sword now, but a needle gun, shooting darts as I was chased through a city by a surging insane mob.
Yep.
I was Prince Coram in the Scarlet Robe, seeking vengeance at the courts of the gods.
Yep.
I was Artos the Celt, riding with my burning blade uplifted against the invaders of my kingdom's shores. Sorry, hiccup there.
That's pretty much the same.
Hiccup not included.
Yep, it's the same.
I was all these and more, and sometimes my weapon was a sword, at others it was a spear, at others a gun, but always I bore a weapon that was the black sword or a part of that strange blade. Always a weapon, always the warrior. I was the eternal champion, and that was my glory and my doom. And a strange mood of reconciliation came over me then, and I was proud of my destiny. Yet, why had I denied it? I recalled a billowing cloud of brightness. I remembered grief. I remembered sealing the sword in its case and swearing I would not bear it again. I remembered a voice and a prophecy. In refusing one doom, ye shall know another. A greater. No doom can be greater, I shouted. Then I was John Dacre, unhappy, unfulfilled, before the voice called across the aeons for him to become Ericos. The crime I had committed was in refusing the black sword. But why had I refused it? Why had I tried to rid myself of it? It seemed to me that had not been the first time I had tried to part my own destiny from that of the black sword. Why? I murmured. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
We don't know.
So all the same then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we found out why. Because the first act of the Black Sword is to leap into the chest of an unfortunate serving girl who happens to pop in and see if he needs anything.
Yeah.
But I blame Bladrat for that because
Absolutely.
Because Ulrik says to him, "You better get out of here because I can't say that the sword won't attack you."
Yeah.
And then he sends a serving girl.
Yeah, he asks the young lass to pop in and see if he needs anything.
Yeah.
Fucking Burke. Now, earlier on, when we were doing our homework for this, you had a bit of an epiphany when you were reading this bit, didn't you?
I did, when the bit about being Elric of Melniboné. I didn't realise he was Elric.
Did you?
No.
Yeah, right.
Well, because I haven't read like Jeremiah Cornelius and...
Yeah, you haven't read Coram or
Coram.
Yeah, fair enough.
You? You just read the Elric sequence. When we first got together, you read the 2 Millennium Elric omnibuses, didn't you?
Yeah. So, it was a total shock that he's everybody.
Yeah. So Phil, this afternoon, went through the same realisation that we all went through in the 80s when we read these things in whatever order, and suddenly the penny dropped. It was like, oh, holy shit. Oh, what?
No way.
No way, man. These are all the same fucking cosmic dude.
And the main cosmic dude's a bit crap.
Yeah.
The other ones are miles better.
Yeah. And this happened for Phil this afternoon.
Yeah, right.
It did.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah. But the other thing about this, though, he says it's the whole sword, not like Stormbringer and Mournblade.
Oh, yeah.
A split.
Yeah.
Makes it more powerful. And there's definitely this version of the Black Sword is very much connected, I think, to the quest for Tanelorn bit at the end.
Can I ask another question at this point? Because my next thing was about the Black Sword. And it talked about Eric Stormbringer, but said it had a twin Mournblade.
Yeah.
So who wields the twin?
Yeah, Coon. Like in Elric of Melniboné, the kind of retro but first book, he fights his cousin, who gets Mournblade.
Oh,
But
I remember that, yeah.
But then later on, something happens in Stormbringer where Mournblade's back in it.
Yeah, so Mournblade disappears for most of the Elric saga after he defeats Yakun.
And then appears.
And then comes back again at basically the battle at the end of the world.
Yeah.
Is it Divim Tavar? Or Divim Slorm
Slorm.
wields Mournblade?
Slorm.
Yeah.
Tivar's his dad, isn't he? Slorm's dad.
Right, yeah.
But is this twin in any of the other characters?
No.
Just
Well,
purely in Elric?
Stormbringer's not in, apart from this. Sword of the Dawn was completely different.
Right.
Coram didn't, he just because he was supposed to be of law. He didn't have a soul. He had like just a normal sword, pretty much.
Yeah.
But he did have a 6-fingered hand.
Yeah. Yeah, Coram has other toys. He has a 6-fingered... He has the hand of a dead god and the eye of a dead god.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the villain in the Coram novels, who's a hideous, sweaty Oliver Reed type...
Glandith Thackeray.
Yeah, he... one of the most shocking things in the first Coram story is within about the first 15 pages, the hero gets brutally tortured and his eye put out and his hand chopped off by the Pony tribes.
And that was the first Moorcock story I read.
Oh, really?
I went, holy shit, this guy don't mess about.
Yeah. So they all have the toys. Coram has the eye of
Rin.
The
hand of Quill, the eye of Rin.
The hand of Quill, yeah, which I always mistake. It's not the eye of Quim and the hand of Rill.
No,
yeah.
That's the different Coram.
Yeah.
That's Cornish Coram.
That's Colin.
Yeah.
And Hawkmoon has multiple toys. He has the Mad God's amulet. He has the Sword of the Dawn.
The rune staff.
Oh, he's a bit greedy.
Yeah.
He's got loads of MacGuffins.
But he's also got the black jewel in his skull, which is an avatar of the Black Sword.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, big, strong part of the iconography of it all.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chapter 6, The Black Blade's Thief. So off to Rowan he goes, mirroring the scene in the Dreaming City, actually.
Very much, yeah.
Rowan is besieged by the Silver Warrior fleet while he sneaks ashore down coast to rescue the Lord Temporal Shanasfane, not his cousin-stroke-girlfriend.
No.
But the siege is pretty much over. Population of Roanoke has already been led aboard the ships as slaves. And, to add insult to injury, they're taking his fucking chariot and bears.
Yeah, he's very cross about that.
He is very cross about that, so I'll just read this. But yeah, a thought came to me as I watched my bears being edged towards the sea where a series of planks had been placed between the shallows and the nearest ship. Deliberating no further, I leapt up, drew my sword and ran for the chariot. I'd almost reached it before I was seen. A silver warrior shouted in a high, fluting voice, flinging his halberd at me.
Yeah, there's a lot of flinging of halberd.
Fucking stop it. I knocked it aside with a sword, which, for all its weight, handled as easily as a fencing foil. I sprang into the chariot and gathered up the reins, turning the bears back towards the Obsidian City. Ho, Render! Ho, Growler! As if their spirits had risen at my sudden appearance, the bears reared in their harness and wheeled about. Ho, Longclaw! Ho, Snarler! The wheels of the chariot scraped around in the crystal rock, and then we were driving straight for the causeway. I ducked as more halberds were thrown, but they were poor throwing weapons at the best of times.
Exactly.
Yeah, why?
Why didn't somebody explain to them? No, you want spears.
Yeah. And the Silver Warrior's lack of skill with them did not help. Slaves and soldiers scattered, and we had reached the first level in no time. Now the Black Sword was crooning again.
Yeah.
An evil song.
Hey up.
A mocking song. As I raced past them, I slashed at warriors who tried to stick me with their weapons, and now when I struck their armour, it was they who yelled, not me. Up and up we charged, and I felt an old familiar battle joy returning. The Black Sword cut off heads and limbs, and bright blood streamed the length of its blade, dappling the side of the chariots and the white pelts of the bears. On, Render! On, Longclaw! We were almost at the level of Doodgard. Everywhere men were shouting and running in all directions. On, Snarler! On, I wish I'd left them out.
Yeah, I know.
It's not working for me.
That's what I'm saying about the word count.
Yeah.
You're 200 words short, mate.
Yeah. Even faster ran my mighty bears until we came to the great door which protected Doodgard. It had been drawn right back. I guessed that some spy in Shanasfane's household had been paid to do this, but it suited me now, for I was able to drive the chariot right into the place and continue at breakneck speed through the very passages themselves. So, you know, some pretty cool imagery there. Obviously, the Silver Warriors are fucking useless. The throwing halberds thing.
But they know now why they're useless.
Yeah, but even then, it's like, here's a I don't care how fucking useless you are in a fight. If someone gives you a halberd, the last thing you would think in a bazillion years is to throw it at someone.
Maybe the kind of the warfare book had a page missing. It had halberds and then it talks about spears.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to fight for him, did they, for Belfast?
Well,
I don't know
really.
that yet.
Yeah.
Good God.
I suppose not. I suppose not. But better imagery. Ehrlich plunging down corridors and halls in his chariot, slaying fools until he gets to.
Well, he's Ulrik, isn't he?
That's pretty cool.
He's well.
Ulrik.
Ehrlich.
No, but he's Ulrik. He just the way he fights is just like Ulrik.
Yeah.
Like battle frenzy.
And we get that later on, don't we? We get a fairly lame plot device just there purely to give him his Elric moment.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And Lord Shanasfane is, you know...
Well, he's not that bothered, is he?
He's a cipher at best, isn't he?
He goes and he says, "Come on, I'm here to rescue you." He goes, "Oh, from what? From Belfig. Why? He's going to kill you. Life and death, all the same, whatever."
It's like, oh, sorry, I made a terrible mistake. I meant to rescue Jeff over there, who does want to come with me.
Yeah, but he doesn't rescue Jeff, does he?
No.
He bonks Shanasfane over the head and takes him anyway. So we'll get a chase.
And that's the weird thing, isn't it? It's like, as part of the plot, it's like, well, this guy's rubbish.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Shanasfane is... You could describe him as an enigma, but you could describe him as a bit of a boring twat, really.
This is why I think Shanasfane being Ehrlich's sole reason to take up the Black Sword after all his rejection of the Black Sword is a little bit flimsy.
Yeah.
I would use the word flimsy, certainly.
Yeah.
If it had been a beauty that he had had eyes for.
It's not even that. It's if there's a proper reason for doing it, you see something morally you don't agree with, and
I
that's
would
the
have
only
taken
option.
Hot Babe as a better explanation
Yeah.
Than
than this.
Sanaphane. Yeah.
You know, Hot Babe will look like Hermazad or something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, anything other than Shanasfane.
Or Jameis the Crooked with like a meatball sub or something.
The last tin of Wessler's burger and gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not that.
No, maybe not.
Last
Bob
tin of
Bad Boy.
Spam.
Tin of Spam. Yeah, tin of Spam. Massive catering tin of Spam.
And frying pan.
I would fucking take that. I would take that over Shanasfane. But anyway, we'll get more murderous sword action because Ehrlich does bonk him on the head and take him. Chase with Seal Riders, which is quite cool. Then he's back at the Scarlet Fjord, and there he learns from Shanasfane, at least he learns something from Shanasfane, why the Silver Warriors are such useless fighters,
Yes.
despite their funky armour.
But he just killed Morgeg as well, doesn't he?
He does kill Morgeg, yeah. So, for those who haven't listened to the last episode about this, Morgeg was Belfig's right-hand man.
Yeah.
And Morgeg says, "Oh, you know what? You don't have to kill me." Ehrlich offers mercy to one of his men. He says, "Yeah, you can stay and fight and die, or you can fuck off back to Roanoke." And Morgeg says, "Oh, well, I won't mind. I won't mind an out at this point." And Ehrlich says, "No, you abandoned me in the Sea Stag's cave." So, yeah, he's not having it. But he learns from Shanasfane that Belfig has the Silver Warrior's queen held captive, and they're being coerced into doing their villainy on his behalf. Otherwise, Shanasfane, pretty ambivalent about everything. Well,
And then we do get just back to the halberdier section. I was astonished and could see why. See that Bladrak was equally surprised. So that's why they're such bad halberdiers. That's right.
They're such bad halberdiers, they throw the halberd. Yeah, fucking goons.
But we did need the Eternal Champion to bail us out.
Yeah.
But hey up.
So Bladrak is also pretty unimpressed with Shanasfane, and he turned his back on the Lord Temporal. "Lord Ehrlich, you wasted your time," he said. "Because Lord Shanasfane does not think as we do," I replied. "It does not follow that he was not worth saving." "I was not worth saving."
Shut up! Shut up, you!
A peculiar look came into Shanasfane's eyes. "I do not think I have been saved. Who told you to rescue me?" We
Bloody peasant.
Yeah, we decided to do it ourselves, I replied, and then I paused. "No, perhaps not. Perhaps it was the Lady of the Chalice who suggested it."
Yeah, that wasn't me. It was the woman with the cup.
"Yeah, oh, your idea, was it?" No, it wasn't actually. It was there. It was there.
He
over
didn't
there.
want to come anyway.
Yeah.
He's rubbish.
Shanasfane returned his attention to the Black Sword. "I think I would like it if you would leave me alone. I would meditate." Bladrak and I went to the door and walked out into the corridor. Well, perhaps he was worth saving after all.
At this point, why?
Yeah, Bladrak admitted reluctantly. "He gave us information we should not have had otherwise.
Oh, okay.
But I have no liking for the fellow and cannot see why you admire him. He is nothing but a...
massive.
We stopped in our tracks as a blood-curdling scream came from the room we had just left. We looked at each other, sharing a certain knowledge. This guy's a fucking idiot. We ran back towards the door. But the black sword had done its work. Shanna's Fern lay spread-eagled on the floor with the blade waving from the middle of his chest like an obscene plant.
Yeah.
Whether the sword had attacked him or whether he had managed to kill himself, we would never know. But to be honest, you do know.
Yeah, you will
Any minute
know.
now, because Shanna's Fern was not dead. His lips were moving. I bent to listen to the words he whispered. I had not realised it would be so chill. Obviously chill, carrying a different connotation in those days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that death was well chill.
Yeah, it really was.
So I just love that. Whether the sword had attacked him or whether he had managed to kill himself with it, we would never know. And then his last words are, I had not realised it would be so chill.
He went to touch it.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Those incredibly intelligent eyes closed and he spoke no more.
He wasn't
incredibly intelligent,
No,
wasn't
he went
he?
to touch
Yeah.
a killing soul.
So many contradictions in this short passage.
The man's an idiot.
I took the black sword from his body and put it back in its sheath. Bladrak was pale. Was that why the Lady of the Chalice made you bring him here? He said. I did not understand him at first. What do you mean? Did the sword need the life of a good man, an especially good man, as its price for helping us? The black sword's reward? The soul of the Black King? I remembered the words of the chant. If the black sword is wakened, it must take its black thief. I clenched my hands together as I looked down at the corpse of the Scholar King. Oh, Bladrak, I said. I am afraid of our future. And a coldness colder than the coldest ice filled the room.
Can I ask why he was an especially good man?
Well, he was rubbish,
Was he?
But they added that as an extra line. He was a good man and especially
He didn't
good
even
man.
know him. He's never met him. He met him once. He went, oh, it's the
I don't like
whatever.
him.
He just sat in a room meditating while everybody
And reading books.
shagged and raped each other in corridors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not leadership.
Not really.
Not for me.
Not really.
You should have put a stop to it.
I don't know. Yeah, it don't work for me, the
No.
whole Shanna's Fern thing, I'm afraid.
No.
Not having it. Not having it, Mike.
Book 4,
Sorry.
though. The Blood of the Sun.
Book 4, though. Short one, this book.
A knife, a cup, and a man shall be the means by which the world's set free.
Yeah.
Chronicle of the Black Sword.
Yeah.
Written by Byron Wozencraft.
Yeah. Chronicle of Black Swords. Yeah, it's a bit lightweight.
Yeah.
Bit lightweight.
You imagine reading it. Maybe that's just one chapter. Like,
Yeah.
It must be massive.
Maybe so. I don't know. I reckon the Chronicle of Black Sword is like 20 pages of A5 notebook size fanzine at best. Right, I think before we kick into chapter 4 then.
Ah.
Am I
Book 4.
rolling?
Yeah, you got to roll.
Are you ready?
Oh, maybe there's a
Do
colder
it.
one.
One.
No,
Oh my god.
we haven't got that one.
Haven't you?
No.
That's fucking
We're going to have to have a sparkling water.
Right,
I have some
we have got
sparkling
this
water.
one. It's
How
Tiny
dare
Rebel. So this is Tiny Rebel. This is the 28 laters beer that I've got. And I did drink this on a pod recently, but I didn't drink it with someone. So where it gets to share drinking notes.
We didn't review the apple pie. Fruity
I didn't
stuff.
like it.
It's rubbish, wasn't it? We didn't taste some apple pie,
No,
or indeed anything fruity.
no.
Neither of you commented at all.
That's because
They're just trying to get it down.
it was
to be
something
honest.
to be endured rather than enjoyed.
It was just, it was mostly awful.
Yeah, so anyway, this is 28 years later, 4.3%, Blood Orange Liqueur IPA. And actually, we started the evening off with the other one, didn't we? The other 28 weeks later.
We did, which
The
was
pineapple IPA one.
all right.
Yeah, it's alright, it's fine.
Suitably pineapple-y.
Yeah. So, of course, as I say, I've had this before, but I'll be interested to see what you make of it.
A vase.
It's got a pleasing, cloudy, milky look to it,
It looks like
which you wouldn't have said a few years ago about beer.
There you go. Why is it homebrew?
Yeah.
it looks like a sour.
It does look like sour.
Yeah, it isn't though.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah. Oh well, okay. So anyway, book 4.
I think chapter 1. I'm just going to open. I'm going in there, mate.
Yeah.
Depression settled over us, and even the fires.
Of course it did.
And even the fires of the Scarlet Fjords seemed to fade. We lived in the shadow of the Black Sword, and now I had an inkling of the reasons why I wanted to rid myself of it. One could not master the sword. It demanded lives as some greedy Moloch, some fierce barbaric god of ancient times demanded sacrifice. And what was worse, it often chose its own sacrifices from amongst the friends of the man who bore it. A jealous sword indeed.
How is he his friend? Once again, going back. You knew him for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but the guys just bond real quick.
And at dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's, what a guy.
Yeah. I remember once I bonded with a guy. Can't remember his name. It was amazing though. I probably would have destroyed a world for him.
Yeah.
Don't know what his name was. Can't quite remember. But I do recall he bought me a pint. That's just how blokes work.
Well, I think you might have reduced it slightly, but still.
I didn't want to say,
No.
Hey.
Well, it doesn't take long for Belfig and his fleet to mass and get to the Scarlet Fjord anyway. But I've got to say, this chapter, mixed bag for me. On one level, we get a bit of enjoyable ship battle action.
Yeah.
Always a winner with Moorcock. But on the other, we've hit that point where it's crunch time. And I shouldn't say this anymore because Mike did tell me that he never took any substances when he wrote these books. He was just writing them
very
on
quickly.
time and on target and quickly for a price. But I'm still going to say it. The speed was wearing off. He was fucking knackered. And he just wanted to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Things look desperate. They're going to ask the Lady of the Chalice for hints. Long story short, she says, yes, I know where the Queen is. She's on Moon.
Yeah, not the moon.
It's 1,000 miles away.
Oh, is it? Oh, what a disaster.
No, you can't get there on a boat. And you've lost your polar bears and chariot. But don't worry, there's a highly dangerous radioactive flying boat in a cave nearby, thanks to the ancients that built the Scarlet Fjord.
It seems reasonable, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it will blind and eventually kill the pilot. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just what you want.
So, once again, Moorcock likes to create an incredibly perilous scenario, then a page later provide a convenient solution or Deus Ex Machina. That's exactly what he's doing here. They are one-shit books, though, so, you have to kind of expect that at the end of the day, so fair play. But we're rampaging to a close, and I'm getting to this point thinking, right, there are 3 chapters left, and they take up, in my edition, 13 pages.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's crack on and get this done and hope that 5 of them aren't Black Sword. Black Sword. Black Sword. So, chapter 2. The City Called Moon.
Moon.
I want to read the first 3 paragraphs.
Leave it once for Moon.
And so I left the Scarlet Fjord, climbing up into the black igneous cliffs that brooded eternally beneath the dark twilight sky. I had a map with me, some provisions, and my sword. My bulky furs keeping out the worst of the cold. I moved through the mountains as rapidly as was possible. I slept little, with the result that I could barely keep my eyes open, and the walls of obsidian, the frozen cascades of basalt, the oddly shaped pumice visible in all directions, took on the appearance of leering faces, of menacing figures of giants and monsters, until I felt surrounded by the creatures of nightmare, and I gripped my sword tighter but continued doggedly to move on. And at last I saw the ice plains ahead, and the clouds thinned out to reveal the red sphere of the sun, the faint stars gleaming behind it. I welcomed that sight. If I had thought the ice gloomy and bleak when I first found myself in this world, it had been nothing compared with the mood of the mountains which surrounded Earth's last dark sea. I trudged over the smooth glassy rock of the pass, and I saw the mountain ahead of me. As the Lady of the Chalice had said, it stood alone, directly before me on the edge of the ice plain. I staggered as sleep tried to overcome me. I forced my feet to pull the last half-mile to the base of the mountain where ancient steps had been carved. On the first of those steps, I succumbed to sleep, not knowing for what new task my energies would be needed. So, it's that classic thing that we get in quite a lot of Moorcock around this time, which is, it happens a lot in the second quorum sequence. The goodies are besieged by villainous forces, and our hero has to undertake a quest to help save the day just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
So what does he do? He has a kip.
Yeah.
He has a kip. Classic.
Bit tired.
Yeah.
But he just say he succumbed to sleep. He hadn't stopped.
All right, fair enough. But there is some fun, weird science and sword action to come. The scene where he finds the airboat is nice, complete with mummified pilot, where he gets annoyed and knocks its head off and drags the bones out. The effect of the radiation from the engine, though, really only serves as a device to set up an Ulrik-like scenario where he's all weak and pathetic on arrival to the moon, or at Moon. But some villains handily turn up so he can slaughter them with a black sword, regain some vitality, and go on a laughing, brutal rampage, chopping them all up. And there's some more halberd thrown here too. But this is from Roanoke blokes, so again, a bit weird.
That's how they've learnt it.
Right. For a change, I'm slightly disappointed here by Moorcock when Ehrlich gets to Moon, right? Because it's a pretty cool concept, the fact that you've got this dying Earth set up and the Moon has crashed into Earth.
Yeah, which is quite good.
Which is pretty cool. And he says, then I saw it ahead. It was a huge white mountain pitted with great craters rising out of the ice. I recognised it, of course, for it was the Moon itself. How many thousands of years had passed since it crashed into the Earth? A dim memory came back to me. I was sure I had witnessed this sight before. A name, an impression of despair. What was the name? It had gone. With the last of my strength, I brought the air chariot to a skidding halt on the ice and pulled my aching body from it. Then I began to crawl across the ice towards the towering mountain that had once been Earth's satellite. Now, Moorcock is fantastic at wonderful imagery.
Yep.
Isn't he? That, to me, bit disappointing.
Bit rubbish.
Yeah. Little hint of something there that I'm not sure about, this thing about him having this memory. Answers on a postcard, listeners. But had this been in the first half of this book, I think Mike would have made a lot more of it in terms of great imagery. But it's like it's nearly over.
Yeah.
No time. Need to rattle to the end.
The air chariot as well was like the ones in Queen of the Swords.
Yeah.
The Vadhag ones, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Even with a jewelled
Yeah.
kind of...
But even then, it's like, yeah, you push it for... He spends a paragraph explaining how he controls it. It's like,
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Mike, you've only got like 8 pages left.
Just-
Do we really need to know that you push it forward to go forward and pull it back to go back, and then you angle it? It makes no sense. You angle it forward to gain altitude and angle it backwards to... What? Although, it could have been worse, because in the Gore novel, you get like a page-long explanation of harness tack on a flying bird, which is super terrible.
Which
So,
nobody needs.
at least we're spared that. But he does find the Queen. She is silver. She's hot. She's behind an invisible wall that reacts badly when he hits it with a sword. And he wakes up in chapter 3, the Phoenix and the Queen, back aboard the airboat. And it turns out she is the Lady of the Chalice.
No.
What?
You're shitting me.
Really? That's incredible. Although, chapter 3, The Phoenix and the Queen, does start off with Black Sword, Black Sword,
Yeah.
Black Sword.
Yeah.
The blade of the sword has the blood of the sun. I opened my eyes and saw the stars in the dark sky. I turned my head, realising that I was in the air chariot again. At the wheel sat a man in silver armour. This must be a dream. I was dreaming that the skeleton was piloting the chariot. If not, then I was a prisoner of the Silver Warriors. I straightened my back and felt the pommel of my sword. I was not tied. I had not been disarmed. The pilot in silver armour turned his head, and I saw that it was no man at all, but the woman I had just seen before I lost consciousness. She had a sardonic look.
They always do, don't
Yeah,
they? Sardonic
black
look,
eyes.
sardonic laughs.
I thank you for your valour in saving me, she said. I knew the voice.
Your
Your
sword
sword.
shattered the barrier. Now we return to the Scarlet Fjord so that I may tell my warriors I am free and they need do Belfic's work no longer.
You are the Lady of the Chalice.
This is what Bladrak's people called me.
Then all my fighting was in vain. You were already free.
She smiled. No, what you saw was only a manifestation. I could not have appeared anywhere else but in that chamber, the chamber of the staff. Belfic did not realise that I had means of communicating with his enemies.
But I saw the chalice at sea.
The image of the chalice could be projected to a few other places, true, but I could not transfer my own image there.
I looked at her with deep suspicion. And how came you by the black sword?
The folk of Moon have much wisdom, Sir Champion. We were great once. There was a prophecy that you would come again, awakening from your frozen keep. It seemed nothing but a legend, but I studied it, for I needed to hope. I discovered a great deal.
And you promised to tell me everything you learned.
Aye, I did.
First, you could inform me what Belfic's ambition is.
And this is the crux of it. The whole plot of Belfig.
Yeah.
Over to you, Phil.
Belfic is a fool, though cunning. He knew of Moon and he found it eventually, having trekked for weeks across the ice with his men. Having forgotten that war existed, we trusted him. He learned many of our secrets, and then one day imprisoned me as you found me. He then forced the Silver Warriors to serve him, as you know.
But why?
We all ask.
Why?
God, why, woman?
The Silver Queen swayed in her seat, and I realised that the ray from the craft's engine were affecting us both.
The old radioactive shit game, eh?
He had a scheme, but it needed more labour than the warriors themselves could supply. Ultimately, he desired to build a vessel that would travel through space.
Right, so let's stop there. So the whole baddies plot, Bishop Belfig, pornographer and steeplechase jockey, was he wanted to build a spaceship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having it.
No. He wanted to find a new son that had not grown old. But even she says, it was a stupid scheme.
It was spit, wasn't it? What a dickhead. What was he thinking?
Oh, continue, Phil.
He wished to find a new son that would not grow old. It was a stupid scheme. We have the knowledge for building such a ship, but we do not know how to power it or how long it would take to travel to another sun. Belfig would believe none of this. He felt that if he tortured me and my people long enough, we would eventually reveal everything to him. He is insane.
And his insanity has caused much grief on this already grieving planet.
My eyes! I cannot see!
Oh, crikey. So you conjured up the black sword and the chalice of gold, and did you send those dreams to plague me?
I send no dreams.
I thought not. I do not believe you understand everything you've been doing, my lady. You used the legend and you used me. But I believe that the black sword, or whatever power controls it, has used us both. Do you know of Tanalorn?
I know where it is said to be.
Where is that?
At the centre of what we call the multiverse. The infinite matrices, universe upon universe, each divided from the other. But there is a centre, it is said, a hub about which these universes revolve. The hub is a planet, some think, and that planet is mirrored in many of the other worlds. This Earth is one version, the Earth you came from is another, and so on. And Tanalorn is mirrored elsewhere, but with one difference: it does not change. It does not decay as the other worlds decay. Tanalorn, like you, Sir Hero, is eternal.
How does Erlich respond to this, I wonder? With another fucking question. And how may I find Tanalorn and the powers who rule there?
I know not. You must seek that information elsewhere.
I may never find it.
Oh my God.
The conversation has exhausted her, and I too was seriously feeling the effects of the poison radiation. I was bitterly disappointed, for, though I had discovered something more, I still had not all the information I hoped for. More questions then.
Here we go.
So yeah, lots more questions. And amusingly, given that so much is at stake, and Bladrak and co are fighting for their very lives, they overshoot the fjord. and after oh shit, we've gone past it. We have to turn back and go back. And
He'd only been there a short while ago.
Yeah. And to cut a long story short, Bladrak has decided to die fighting. Does Bladrak die? I can't remember. I think
he doesn't.
He gets away.
Opens a chip shop.
He gets away with it. And they crash. The Silver Warriors go, hurrah! It's the Queen! And they turn on Bishop Belfig. Erlich gets his moment.
Now, to be fair, it wasn't. Ulrik was not going to kill him.
Yeah, he said, didn't he? I could not kill him. I had killed too much.
Yeah.
He was harmless now. I would spare him. But the black sword thought otherwise. As I made to sheath the blade, it turned in my hand, flung my arm back. Belfig screamed and raised the sword to defend himself.
And the blade plunged itself into his fat, painted body.
Oh,
he doesn't like fat blokes who wear makeup, does he? Doesn't Mike?
Belfig shivered and his carmined lips fluttered. A strange intelligence entered his eyes. He screwed up his decorated eyes and tears fell down his rouged cheeks. I think he died then. I hoped that he had.
The disappointment about that is, in Elric books, when he slays people with the black sword, they tend to go, "Oh, my soul."
Yeah.
In this, they go, "Oh, that's a bit cold." Just like Shadow's Face says, "Oh, I didn't expect it to be so chill."
Yeah.
Some of the blokes he butchers with it go, "Oh, bit cold that."
Yeah, apart from the ones he splits from like head to waist or whatever.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that going on as well. So the Silver Warriors are happy. It's absolutely brilliant.
They've
They've
saved
saved
us all.
everybody. They've saved the Silver Warriors. It's saved the people of the Scarlet Fjord.
But you've got to remember, Bladrak comes on and goes, "You saved us all, Sir Champion." I smell bitterly, all but myself.
Yeah, it's all about you, isn't it, Early? Yeah, all about you.
Yeah, it's like if Bladrak had come up and said, "Oh, brilliant, thanks, Erlich, but I got both my legs chopped off," Erlich would have gone, "You think that's bad?"
Well, at least you don't have to buy shoes. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Before we go to the last chapter, do we have another beer?
Yes, inevitably we have another beer. Phil, roll the dice.
Chapter 4, The Knife and the Cup.
I have a 6.
A 6 is "Where's my elephant?"
Oh, excellent.
It's almost like Erlich has asked me the question. So this is Pentrich, "Where's my elephant?" Peanut butter milk stout, a tidy 5%. I think we can cope with that, can't we? That's an easy one.
Peanut butter
Easy.
milk stout.
Yeah, everybody's favourite type of milk stout
Yeah.
that everybody's been really asking for.
Well,
You know what? We've not got enough in the world. Peanut butter flavoured drinks.
Given that about 3 years ago we declared a moratorium on dark beers,
We did.
we sure are still drinking a lot of dark beers.
Yeah, that's what we forgot.
Cheers. There's only one chapter. What have you been drinking all this time, Phil?
Cider.
Cider.
It's a
I've
rocky
been having-
cider.
Dirty cider.
I've been having
Aspel.
Aspel and
Thatchers.
Thatchers.
Which you normally like a bit of Henry Weston's, don't you?
But I didn't have any in.
Yeah.
So
He's drunk it
Right,
himself.
let's give this a go then. It's alright, yeah. It's
that's not
alright.
much of an explanation.
It didn't taste too
It doesn't taste as
buttery.
peanutty as I
No.
expected. Yeah. Although, I think if some beer company out there has thought, let's cash in on this fucking stupid peanut struck caramel struck chocolate stout thing, but then just leave out the peanut as like a clever trick, they're probably
That's the
onto
one.
something.
Yeah.
Probably onto something.
Right, so we all strap in for the knife and the cup.
Yeah, so how the fuck does
Pot.
all this end?
Possibly that's the shortest chapter ever.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Early didn't want to go to the celebrations. He was in a glum mood.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is you've got this ending, and this book does pull out one last surprise. Erlich explains to her that whilst she's tried to save a few lives on a dying planet by scheming to call the Eternal Champion, she called up broader powers than she even understood herself, and that in invoking him and invoking the power of the Black Sword, she only knew a fraction, a tiny part of the ramifications of what she was doing. He kind of says, you know what, this isn't necessarily perhaps the entirety of what I expected, but she doesn't really see what's coming. Because what is coming for the Queen of the Silver Warriors?
The thing is that you
It's
say
bit of a shocker, isn't it? For her, anyway.
you say there that you've called me up and you don't understand the ramifications, but all he's done all the way through is ask questions.
Yeah.
What does he know?
Well,
More than her, apparently.
yeah, it appears at this point there's a dawning realisation upon him because of this chanting that he knows the ultimate objective of the Black Sword and the Chalice, and they are actually more powerful than she is, and she has no idea what she's actually brought about. And we find out in the last chapter, where, essentially, to cut a long story short...
Well, it's not a long story, it's 2.5 pages.
Yeah, to cut a short story even shorter, she is the sacrifice to the Black Sword so it can do its heroic leap into the air, flush her blood into the chalice, which also appears, and restore the sun.
Yeah.
The end. She's dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
The sword gives its blood to the chalice,
Yeah.
and then the sun brightens.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the world is saved?
The world is restored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me then, although I could not swear this happened, that a huge hand reached down from the faded sky and picked up the chalice and drew it higher and higher into the air until it vanished. And then I saw a crimson aura spring around the sun. It flickered and was hardly visible at first, but then it grew brighter and the twilight turned into late afternoon, and I knew that it would soon be morning again.
So even though she did what she shouldn't have done because she didn't know what she was doing, she actually saved the planet?
She saved the planet by trying to save her people by invoking the Eternal Champion, the power of the Black Sword, and the power of the Chalice.
Yeah.
Chalice, which is basically the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
And it's like, even Alec says, "Do not ask me how this came to pass, how time itself was turned back. I have been many heroes on many worlds, but I do not believe I have ever witnessed another event as strange and terrifying as that which took place on the South Ice after the Black Sword slew the Silver Queen. Slew her by in the back, we might point out, leaving her face down, spread-eagled on the ice, bleeding out. The prophecy was complete. It had been my fate to bring death to this dying world, and now life. I thought of the Black Sword differently then. It had done much that was evil in my eyes, but perhaps the evil had been to accomplish a greater good."
Why have we heard that before?
Yeah, I walked to where it had fallen. I stooped to pick it up, but the sword had gone. Only its shadow was left on the ice. I removed the scabbard from my belt and put it near that shadow. I walked back to where I had left my chariot and climbed into it. I looked at the corpse of the Silver Queen, stretched where I had slain her. To save the people, she had conjured up cosmic forces of indescribable power, and those forces had brought about her death. Would they had brought about mine? I murmured at the chariot as the chariot's wheel began to roll. I did not expect to be much longer in the South Ice. Soon I knew I would be called again, and when I was called I would try once more to find my way back to Ermazad, my Eldrin princess. I would look for Tanalorn, eternal Tanalorn, and one day, perhaps, I would know peace again.
It's all about him.
So midway through this book, I'm thinking he's like Terry Jones' character, Monty Python and the Old Grill. By the end, he's just Neil from The Young One, isn't he? Yeah.
And couldn't he, knowing how much the Silver Warriors loved, take her back to them so they could give her a good burial?
Yeah.
Rather than just getting this chariot and fuck off?
By then, Queen Corpse. Yeah. Harsh.
Very harsh.
Harsh. Okay, she invoked powers that she didn't quite understand, but, you know, that is a bit harsh.
She did it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Just stabbing her in the back and leaving her face down, spread-eagled on the ice, and then fucking off in your chariot. Yeah.
He brought the sun back, though.
He did bring the sun back.
But to what end?
Yeah, but he didn't bring it back. The Black Sword did.
Will the people of Roanoke still just engage in relentless shagging?
Possibly.
Just, it's sunny instead. Who knows? Who knows what will happen to that world? But anyway, that was Phoenix and Obsidian, a.k.a. the Silver Warriors.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Phil?
So, I enjoyed it when I came back to it, I have to admit, but it was lacking in areas, sadly. And he was very, very maudlin all the way through. And it's good.
Yeah, that's some good points to it,
bits.
I think. Yeah. It was just a bit of a lacklustre hero, isn't he? He's like spent most of it going, the Black Sword, I'm well not going to do that. And then,
Yeah. He's plotting some things together, which is nice. I think there's things to like in here. I love the Dying Earth setting. Yes, there's some dark, shady stuff in the first half, but I like stuff like that in my fantasy. You know, rapey stuff, not so much. But, you know, complex characters, fine. But actually, the big problem with Ericos that I found when I thought about Ericos before rereading them with Phil when we did them is I thought Ericos was a lame character.
Yeah, he's always been the worst one.
But actually, when I reread The Eternal Champion, I kind of got into the idea of him as being like almost a blank template that is filled by the events of the world. And he goes from being a willing tool of white supremacists, in inverted commas, that, okay, they're not actually white, but, like a humans first kind of society, and used as a tool to use willingly as a tool to do horrific things, to the point where he realizes that actually this isn't something that I think is right or correct. Okay, there's a little bit of shallowness to the development of the character in that it's another hot babe who swears him, but he also has that relationship with Amazon's brother, which I think is quite sweet.
Yeah.
Yes, he genocides the entire human race. Okay, fair enough. Ehrlich, on the other hand, is an even bigger, whining, pathetic, agencyless, just passenger amongst in the entire story. And I think it's, whilst I appreciate what Mike was doing in terms of tying together all the stuff he'd written in the 60s to give it some shape and form as he moved forward into the 70s, and whilst Ehrlich as a character looks metal as fuck when you've got the imagery, and there's loads of great imagery in it, I just can't buy into him as a protagonist.
No.
I said with both of them, and even in when he gets Dragon in the Sword as well, just the monotonous feeling about Hermeside is like, ugh.
Yeah, I haven't read that since the 80s, so
that was a lot of it.
Yeah.
Von Beck was the best character in it.
Yeah, well, that's something we need to do at some point. But we can't do Dragon in the Sword until we've covered War Out of the World's Pain and City in the Autumn Stars. So we'll see. And
the thing is, if you took all the actual dialogue and put it into a play, everybody would go, "Oh, well, this guy shut up whining."
Yeah.
Nevertheless, great book. Highly recommended.
I didn't mind it, but I've always, they're probably two of my least favourite protagonists, I think.
I think because there's lots of other stuff in between, it's okay. It's, like I said, if you just had his dialogue on its own, it'd be like, wow.
You know what? I like it.
I do.
As part of the overall tapestry, as a jigsaw piece, I think it's an enjoyable book. But is it an essential book? Could you read all of the Eternal Champion saga and mythos? If you missed this, would you miss anything?
I don't think so.
Would you find out that Elric is part of the Eternal Champion and Cornelius and...
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, you do.
You're doing others.
Because you'd read their novels and you'd find that. So.
I can't remember reading that when I did Elric all
those
years ago.
But when you read Sailor on the Seas of Fate as part of the Elric saga or the Vanishing Tower, you didn't know Ericos or Hawkmoon or Coram were because you'd never read their novels.
No.
For you, they were just like, oh, what's the... They're no different to Rakia the Red Archer or fucking Brute of Lashmar or any of those characters. You didn't know when you read that there were 6 standalone Coram novels.
No.
That there were 7 standalone Hawkmoon novels. You know, that there were 2 Ericos / Ulrik Skarsol novels. You had no idea.
Yeah.
One of the great rewards of reading Moorcock as a teenager and tracking down all these books and finding them in second-hand bookshops was piecemeal putting together this massive patchwork, which was so rewarding. I mean, you remember yourself, Loz, reading these as teenagers and putting 2 and 2 together. You know, I suppose now, looking back 50 years later or 30 years later or 40 years later, depending on how old you are when you read these books, because this book was written 2 years before I was born.
Yeah.
You know, and the Elric stories were written in the 60s before I was born. So people were going through this journey before I was even born, of reading these books and putting 2... And Pops was reading these books and putting 2 and 2 together before I was even born. And that's
but it made
a really enjoyable, rewarding thing.
It made you want to read the other books there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's an internal kind of promotion, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just the character you don't like, not the world that's created.
Yeah, the world's good. I think I prefer the Moorcock stuff where it's not first person anyway.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, the beauty of this is, and the beauty of books like this is, it's a one-shit book, you're getting something out of it. Yeah, it's not the best, but still, it's an enjoyable read. You can read it on one visit to the throne, and it fills in lots of gaps and draws loads of connections together in other books that you're going to read. And if if this was a fucking 1,000-page novel, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be a bit put out.
And then you probably wouldn't, because all the things that you complain about would be fleshed out.
Yeah.
You know,
I suppose.
it's horses for courses, isn't it? He was knocking these out in 3 days, and this is another one that he knocked out in 3 days. And fucking hell, when I think about my working day, I don't accomplish anything in 3 fucking days at work other than getting bored shitless.
No, it's impressive stuff. It's just when you read stuff that he does spend some time on it, that's the problem, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, but I think, you know, as long as you've got an awareness of how his development worked as a writer and how he got better as time went by. Although, that said, I would still, much as when we did Fortress of the Pearl, I enjoyed rereading it for the first time in 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
I would still rather read some of his 60s stuff than reread Fortress of the Pearl.
Yeah.
When Fortress of the Pearl is a better written book, but it lacks some of the essential vitality that some of his earlier books have when he was writing them in 3 days. You know, but it is what it is. And you know, as part of the overall patchwork, could you skip it? Yes, but actually, if you've got time to devote a couple of hours to it, then you know what, it's a good read. And I think one of the other things is because, again, we did probably an hour and 40-minute podcast on the first half, and we're doing a thick end of 2 hours podcast on the second half. We're talking about it and thinking about it more time than it takes to actually read the fucking thing.
Yeah, probably.
So we're probably picking holes in things that most people, when they're reading it on the bog, thinking, yeah, that was a good bit of escapism.
Yes.
This is quality escapism.
Yes, absolutely.
With great imagery, bit of violence, some interesting
some
concepts.
amusing bears.
Yeah, absolutely. Bears with stupid lame names. It's got the lot. It's got the lot. And it's got Bladrak Morning Spear.
As we all want to call him, Baldric.
Yeah. I would have appreciated a bit more characterisation for Bladrak Morning Spear.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. And you pay your money, you take your choice. You buy Phoenix and Obsidian for £1 or £1.50 from a second-hand bookshop. And you know what? You're in for a good time.
Yes.
Well, Loz, I think we need one more roll on the beer table because we never got through all 8.
No.
And you've slowed right down on your stout drinkage. So, Phil, roll the dice and let's see what we've got.
7.
7! Oh, God, it's stout again.
Hooray!
It's Wheatwood Silverback Stout. Smooth, dark and creamy. 4.4%. What does it say?
It's a nitro stout, so it should be quite
what is a nitro stout?
They put nitro in it, so it's smoother.
All right. A dark, brooding and powerful appearance belies the silverback's true nature. He is gentle and full of character, just like this smooth and creamy stout. A clever blend of roasted malts and grains creates its black ale with a smooth and creamy mouthfeel.
Cool.
Well, that's one to open in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. When Loz drinks his last one. Pah. Well, thank you, team.
No
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I'll see you next time. Many thanks as always to Phil and Loz for returning to Derry and Tom's to talk about Phoenix in Obsidian. An interesting book in that it consolidates a number of Moorcock's themes, but also perhaps a challenging one in that having that anti-heroic maudlin and self-pitying central character may be subverting the tropes common to sword and sorcery or heroic fantasy, but it doesn't necessarily make for a massively enjoyable protagonist, and that, to a degree, eases our investment in the perils he endures. Still, an enjoyable read nevertheless, an important part of Mike's oeuvre for all the reasons we've mentioned. We'll come back to all of this, of course, as we have some super miserable Hawkmoon action to explore at some point in the near future. By the time you're hearing this, it will probably be August, so our Patreon Halloween poll will currently be live, and they will select the subject of our Halloween special for 2025. So far, at the moment of recording this, Sean Hudson's Slugs is holding a lead over Robert R. McCammon's The Night Boat, with Ramsey Campbell's The Dollarwaiter's Mother and Guy and Smith's Origin of the Crabs bringing up the rear. Plenty of time to go, though. Regular listeners will recall that our last show was Phil's choice, and she went with The Revenge of the Manitou. We'll be sending our copies out to a couple of patron demons over the next few days, and including some of our spare beers from this episode's Wandering Beer Table. The rest of our summer itinerary is in place, so we'll have some more Moorcock and some other diversions out soon, but in the meantime, I'll just take time to thank our patrons. First, those without tier: Anthony Paconti, Tim Cardos, Dave Dempster and Sebastian Weetabix. And our Chaos Engineers: Ed von Stout, Andrew Cicluna, Andrew Spong, Andrew Van Ness, Anthony Porter, Benjamin Fletcher, Ben Hagar, Brandon Mays, Dan Charnley, Dave Griffiths, Dave Voxman, Gabriel Laycock, Harvey Faulkner Aston, Jim Kirkland, Jim Jupp, John W. Lays, Jules Lawrence, Mal Pertwee, Matt Saltz, Michael Hopwood, Nick Hopkinson, Paul McRandall, PJ Cooper, Scott Butler and Simon Perrins. And of course thanks to our crafty Jugaderos: Adrian Tchaikovsky, Alexander Harris, Chris Sharp, Christian Hundal, Dave F., Graham Holden, Kevin Williams, Liam Turner, Loz, Mark Buckley, Mark Taylor, Matthew Broom, Murray Palmer, Urfa Ziv, Sean Twist, Toby White and Taylor Lavery. And eternal thanks to our patron demons: Action Edmonds, Alistair Davison, Andrew Clark, Andy Darby, Brian Henderson, David Lee, Derek Clunan, Fred Quiche, Gareth Wilson, Glenn Sawyer, Greg Faulkner, Gwen Barlow, Ian Stead, Jenny Stim, Jason Vogel, Joachim Sund, Joe Monty, Johan Hjarper, Jonathan Sharp, Lee Gary, Liam Jones, Marius Latauskas, Mark Hebden, Miles Reed-Labato, Neil Burton, Paul Hillary, Randall Gatlin, Steve Round, Tom Murphy, Tony Milazzo, the OG patron Norman Beresford, and last but of course never least, Robert McMillan. Okay, enough from me. Don't forget you can follow us on Instagram or Blue Sky with the handle @BreakfastRuins. You can email us at breakfastruins@outlook.com. The webpage is breakfastintheruins.com. BITR Breakfast in the Ruins Radio is live on Radio Garden or via the web player breakfastintheruinsradio.blogspot.com. We have our Patreon page too, and there are a few extra odds and sods on there. But until next time, wherever you are in the world and whatever's going on in your backyard, take care, stay safe, and we will meet again soon on the Moonbeam Roads.